What a headshot! What a head!
How's it, guys? This is Dayvy, FPL, and welcome back to the Fantasy Premier League video here on my channel. Now in this video, I'm going to take you guys through my latest and greatest updated draft. So following on from the first draft that we created about a week and a half ago, decided to release this video to give you guys some updates as the team has actually changed. Now as I go through the team player by player, I'll also be discussing some alternatives that I didn't necessarily go for, but they could also still work if you guys do favor those options. Now the reason for this updated draft has actually been the videos that we've created this week, if you guys have watched them, but I'll give them a little bit of a shout out in the upcoming talking point. Now the season is creeping ever so close here, and I will be giving you guys an updated draft probably next Friday as well, and I am quite excited for next week as I'm kind of titling it Draft Week, and you guys can basically tell from that name what we're going to be doing in the videos next week. But as the days kind of get closer to that Game Week 1 deadline, the excitement is rising, and I really do hope that this is going to be a great season for us where we manage to finish with another top 10k finish. But with that being said, sit back, relax, and let's get straight into this updated draft video. So the first talking point that I'm going over before we talk about the draft is going to be a little bit of a shout out to my Discord channel. There's a load of you that are already in the channel, about 200 members as of now. And as you guys saw on Sunday, I actually created a draft review, and I think I'll be doing the same thing on this upcoming Sunday. So what I mean by that is that you guys can post your teams in my thoughts channel, and then I'll be giving you guys a review on them live on stream on Sunday evening. But don't worry, not only team reviews are going to be happening in the Discord, we also have some Q&As that I'll be having over the voice chats. We also have some members only channels. Shout out to those of you who have become new members. I've actually refreshed my member system, so we now have 3 categories, so you guys can choose whichever one you want to go for. Becoming a member will allow you for those one-on-one chats and also the team reveals that I'll be doing throughout the season. But I know that you guys are quite sick of these Discord announcements, but join it, otherwise I'm going to have to shout it out every single video. But now going on to the actual reason that I've refreshed this draft or updated my first draft, and that's going to be the positional reviews that I created this week. So from Monday to Thursday, from goalkeepers to forwards, I've made a video for all of them, and you guys can see the thumbnail on the screen right now. So I please recommend that you guys do go check them out before watching this video, just to give you guys some context about why I'm selecting these options, and when I talk about the stats backing them up, you guys will have the context of those. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys did enjoy this series. If you have any feedback on it, drop it in the comments as well, as I always like to see how I can improve. But now let's go on to what everyone wants from this video. It's going to be my updated draft heading into the FPL 2022/23 season. And as you guys can see on screen right now, I've actually changed the formation to a 4-4-2. So let's just talk about this formation change for a quick minute, as it is quite integral to the structure of the overall team. So if you guys do remember my first draft, it was a 5-4-1 formation with only Erling Haaland up front, so the 11.5 premium striker up front. But one thing that's quite bad about that draft is that it didn't have much bench coverage in terms of the midfielders and the defenders. And why I'm saying that is that the 4.5 forwards at the current moment, there's no kind of 4.5 that's going to be nailed to start for the respective team. And that's why if they have to come off the bench, or maybe Haaland doesn't feature, I will have a player on my starting 11 that will get me 0 points. So what the 4-4-2 allows you guys to do is have a defender, and you guys know there's a bunch of options at 4.0 million even that you guys can include into your teams. Then we obviously have that number one option that's going to be that 4.5 midfielder, who I will talk about shortly. So this structure allows you to have a bit more flexibility. We always talk about kind of being modular at the start of the season with your drafts, so that if push comes to shove, you can shift funds around, and with those 2 up front, you have some funds up front if you have to upgrade them. Now in terms of the balance, we were left with 0.0 in the bank, what you guys love to see in any first draft. We're pumping as much money into our starting 11 and our bench as possible, but I do also understand if you guys want to have a little bit more money, maybe like a 0.5 to spend after game week 1. But going on to the first part of any draft that I always talk about, it's going to be the bench, and as you guys can see, I've highlighted some positions, but I also have left some blank. Now the reason for that is that there's no kind of 4.0 goalkeeper that currently is going to play for their team, so you guys can simply go with anyone. I would recommend maybe going for a team that you're not going to own too many of their assets throughout the season, as at least then you're not blocking any triple ups. But then moving on to the more important positions, the first one I want to speak about is going to be the 4.5 forward, which is going to be Dwight Gale from Newcastle. So right now he was the only 4.5 that I was almost drawn to, because he has played in the Premier League before. I thought he might feature for Newcastle, probably won't, as they look to sign another striker to kind of accompany Callum Wilson. But Gale will probably not feature for them, but like most 4.5 forwards, they're not going to play anyway. But the 2 players that are going to be very kind of template on your guys' benches is going to be Andreas Pereira, then also Neko Williams. So the 4.5 midfielder had a transfer from United to Fulham, and he does look like quite an attacking 4.5, which is really appealing. So if you guys don't have him as your 4.5, I would go on and get him. Otherwise, there are a few other options that might not get you as many points. I just hope that Andreas Pereira starts most games. Neko Williams, on the other hand, just had a transfer from Liverpool to Nottingham Forest for about 17 million, so he should be featuring for every single game for them, and he does seem like quite an attacking fullback. Now, whether Nottingham Forest keep clean sheets is a whole other story, but at least if you need him to come off your bench, he will potentially get you 2 or more points. But this bench is literally as cheap as you can get. We've got two 4.0s, the goalkeeper and the defender, so it allows us to pump an extra 0.5 from other benches into our starting 11. Going on to our starting 11, the first position is going to be the goalkeeper, and right now I've stuck with the Brentford goalie, Raya. Now, I know what most comments have been about the Brentford goalie this week is that Brentford have just signed a new goalkeeper and he's pretty strong. But I think the general consensus right now is that Raya will start at least for the opening couple games. If he dips in form, then this new goalie will come straight into the starting 11. But with an early wildcard on the horizon, I don't think it's the worst move to include Raya from the start. Now, there are a whole bunch of other goalkeeping options. I covered them in that goalkeeper review. Sanchez was quite popular, and I see he's kind of creeping in to a lot of people's drafts because of the security of him at 4.5, but I still think I favor the Brentford goalie. Moving on to the rest of our defensive department, the no-brainer here is going to be Trent Alexander-Arnold. Definitely has not left my drafts at all. I've seen some people kind of finding value, but I would recommend going still with Trent. I know a few days ago that they did lose against United. Trent only got 30 minutes though, but hopefully throughout the preseason they can improve defensively and also from an attacking point of view. So Trent's a no-brainer for me, 7.5 underpriced, or actually on price, according to my defender linear regression line, but I still think he's great value for money at that price. The next defender is going to kind of give you guys an insight into my Liverpool triple up because you guys know what's coming in our midfield department. It's going to be Mo Salah, but I've chosen to accompany Trent and Salah with Robertson. Now, I must say that Luis Diaz did look quite strong against United, cutting in from that left-hand side. The thing about Diaz, though, is I think that he has to improve his shooting ability before I consider him as an FPL option. Robertson, on the other hand, 1 mil cheaper than Luis Diaz, and I think he's just so consistent with those clean sheets and those attacking returns that for me it's a no-brainer on this triple up. But you guys might disagree with me. Let me know in the comments below if you're going for Luis Diaz over Robertson. I can understand maybe going for a Concello instead of a Robertson, maybe a James or a Chilwell, and then going for Diaz, but I just prefer the Scottish fullback. Next on our list of kind of no-brainers, I've got João Concello in this back line. At 7.0 million, I think he's great value for money, and I just hope that he features for Pep Guardiola in most of the starting 11s. Now, you guys could also go for Laporte, maybe even a Diaz or a Stones, but I still prefer Concello from that attacking point of view, and I just think with Erling Haaland up front, he's definitely going to get more assists. The last defender to go for might be a little bit of a surprise, but if you guys did watch my defender review, you guys will know that Doherty provided some of the best value and points per game when he featured. Now, Spurs played their game against the South Korean kind of all-star team in that South Korean league. I think it's the K-League. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong. But Doherty got a relatively respectable amount of minutes. He got 45, but he actually started at that left wing-back. So that is actually quite surprising because he's a natural right wing-back. And with the signing of Perisic, we thought that maybe he would start on the right and Perisic on the left. But this just shows you what Conte might do with these fullbacks. He might rotate them, not even from a natural position. He might rotate them across the board. Doherty might feature at that left wing-back position, but I do still think if Doherty's fit, he plays. Just such an outstanding player in that kind of five at the back, and I think he just showed his class when he played last season towards the latter stages when Conte came in. And right now Perisic is currently not training, so there might be some injury concerns. And if you guys do know one thing about Conte, is that he absolutely grinds you in preseason, and I just worry that Perisic won't be up to scratch come game week 1. Doherty also allows us to save 0.5 from Perisic, so let's just hold thumbs that he's back from that injury and he's going to be fit for game week 1. So overall, the defensive department, no complaints here. I think the defense is absolutely stacked. Yes, Raya might be some concern with rotation with this new goalkeeper, but generally the back four looks simply outstanding. Let's hope that that four continues into midfield. We're going to start off with Mo Salah, yet another no-brainer here. I'm going over the no-brainers first, just to show you guys the kind of defaults that I'd go for in any template. Salah for me is a no-brainer. Yes, you can go with the no Salah draft that allows you to get a lot more options, but I just think in these opening couple game weeks, I'd rather go template and kind of not suffer that much than him absolutely banging and me being burnt yet again. He's also a prime captaincy option for most game weeks, and that's why I think if you guys did watch the United game, still looked quite strong, hit the post, and was a little bit unfortunate to get on the goal sheet. But before we kind of complete this midfield four, I want to go over yet another kind of default pick in my opinion, and that's going to be Gabriel Jesus. So yes, I've actually shifted from a Saka to a Jesus stan. I'm going to be going for Jesus in the forward department. I just think between these two, I'd rather go for Jesus from an attacking side of things. I think he's nailed to start, whereas Saka might see some rotation, and I just think with the formational change, maybe Nketiah and Jesus up front, Saka might not be as attacking. He also scored 2 goals in their preseason friendly, which is not going to hurt his confidence. And yes, I know it was a preseason game, but I still think the Brazilian can get some goals this season. As I mentioned with this 4-4-2, more flexibility here. I just think with these two playing strikers, it offers me more bench coverage, and that's why I'm going for this draft. But now turning our attention back to the midfield department, and my next option might be a little bit surprised here, but he definitely is almost a template pick. It's going to be Bruno from Newcastle. So in that 6.0 million department, we have a Martinelli, we have a Smith Rowe, we have some other options in and around that bracket, but I just think that Bruno is the best asset for me. I worry about that Arsenal rotation, and I don't necessarily want to have two Arsenal attackers, and that's why with this opening 2 for Newcastle looking outstanding, I've gone for Bruno in my midfield. Had a great end to last season, only signed in January. I think Newcastle on for a massive season, and I just think that Bruno slots in nicely at that cheaper price. Another player that slots in nice and cheap is going to be Pedro Netto. A lot of speculation has been about Netto. Wolves won 7-1 in their preseason friendly, but Netto only got 1 goal. But I just think that he's nailed to get minutes, and with those opening fixtures for Wolves looking so strong, at 5.5, there's not much risk there. We did speak about Visa in that 5.5 midfield department being actually better value than Netto, but I just worry with these new signings for Brentford, Visa's minutes might be reduced. But now we're going to go on to the biggest dilemma of my drafts, and these have been consistent throughout every draft I've made. It's going to be basically Man City versus Spurs. Now I'm pretty sure you guys have the exact same dilemma in your own teams. It's basically Harry Kane or Haaland, or going for Kulusevski or Mahrez. So if you guys did watch my midfielder review video, you would have noted that I went for Mahrez over Foden, and that's why for me it's Kulusevski or Mahrez in that midfield department. I just think that opening game for Man City is going to be a tough one. West Ham away, is there going to be rotation? Will Mahrez start? Will Foden start? These are all speculations. I do think Haaland will play, as he is their most nailed striker at the current moment, but preseason will give us some more information. So before I tell you guys what I'm currently going for, let me know in the comments down below, would you rather have Mahrez and Kane or Haaland and Kulusevski? The thing about Kulusevski is that currently he was injured. He actually didn't feature in that K-League game. Richarlison played a massive 77 minutes, but currently Richarlison suspended for game week 1. So at least then I can give myself game week 1, Kulusevski will hopefully play that. I can then switch him on with the free transfer, but yet again we're kind of locking in another transfer. But I guess the same thing could be said about Kane and Haaland. If I'm only going for Kane, I probably want Haaland game week 2 anyways, so yet another locked in transfer there. But hopefully you guys will let me know what combination you guys would go for, because right now I'm on Mahrez and Kane, just because I think that Kane is nailed for that Southampton game, played really well in that K-League game, and I do think that Mahrez will start the season quite hot. A locked-in move probably going into game week 2 will then be Haaland in for Kane, and yes, I don't really like to lock in transfers, but with a move like this and potential captaincy on Haaland in game week 2, I'm willing to make that. But let me know what you guys think about this combination and my updated draft in general. Do you like this draft more than the other one? This 4-4-2 looks absolute fire in my opinion, but you guys can probably roast me in the comments down below. Also, let me know what your current drafts are looking like. Always like to see what you guys have come up with. In that draft review on Sunday, we saw some massively interesting drafts, and I'm pretty sure come this week Sunday, we'll see some more. But this is basically wrap the video, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy it. Please don't forget to like if you did and subscribe if you're new or subscribed yet. I'll be seeing you guys for more content coming up next week. And as I said, it's going to be draft week, so hold on to your seats because there's some massive content coming up. But I'm signing off. It's been Dayvy FPL, and I'm out. Cheers. Bye.